there, this is Deb, and welcome to another edition of Second Beauty You. And today I have a wonderful woman, Miss Wyomme Pariss. I've known her for, God, why, it's been many years now.
At least 10.
Look, at least 10. Now, this lady's a pioneer of a whole lot of things. She's a singer, she's an actress, she's an advocate, she's done it all. You've done backup work for
many artists,
Yolanda Adams.
Yeah,
Ricky Dillard. You hear this? This resume?
Yeah, William Pariss. We did something with a video with the Canton Spirituals at one time.
Oh, that must have been fun.
That was a lot of fun working with them. They're some wonderful men.
Outstanding.
Great quartet singing is awesome.
So, another thing, White has a TV radio show?
A TV show, yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Talk show. Yes, the name of the show is Four Sisters Live. It's four of us, four sisters.
And they are live. I've seen them. They are a lot of fun.
We're on boxwave.com every Saturday at 12:30. So we speak about a lot of nice topics based on the community and what's happening with our women. Women-based, but we definitely deal with our youth. And we deal with things covering domestic violence, youth education and mentoring, health and wellness, entrepreneurship. So we really cover a lot of things relative to the community.
Well, speaking of that, the reason why I asked why to come and join us today is because of the important work that she's doing regarding domestic violence. So why? Can you explain to us exactly what is domestic violence?
Well, domestic violence to me is defined in many ways. It can be defined in various areas, but when you talk about the violence part, to me, I title it as being demonic. It's unwelcome. It's a place where you're using violence physically to hurt someone, you out of your happy space.
Wow.
You know, in that respect, yeah.
So the violence doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It can be emotional,
physical, financially. You have all these.
What do you mean financial? I never. Like what? Explain that to us.
Well, when you are in a relationship, particularly a spouse, you all are going to fight. You all are going to go through some things relative to the financial.
Right.
So when you're bickering about money in the
home,
you are domestically going over some things that one or the other is going to be uncomfortable talking about it.
And you know what? You made me think about something. Sometimes folks can hold you hostage financially, especially if one of the, like maybe the wife doesn't work and she's dependent on the husband.
Yes.
Oh,
and if the husband is making you do something that you don't want to do, particularly if it's a career job,
right.
You know, and if he feel like he's the breadwinner and he wants you out there working, but you're not comfortable with doing some of the work that you are used to doing, or maybe you got laid off. So when someone gets laid off in the home, that affects the income of the house.
I never even thought about it like
that. And so
that
can create conversation and heated conversations.
Wow.
Yes.
So let me ask you about someone who is in a bad situation. What would you say to someone? How can they get out of it?
They have to understand, first of all, to identify that they're in a danger space.
Okay.
When you're in a environment that is conducive to your health, to your well-being, to you really surviving, it's a life or death situation, it's time to get out.
Wow. So what would be a plan?
You have to strategy. First of all, you got to talk to God. You need to speak to Him. You need to ask God, help me to get out of this situation. If you're in a situation and you know that it's not healthy for you, and if you have children that's involved, you must have a plan. You should get a plan. And if you speak to someone that you may trust. But the main thing is to come up with a strategy of understanding, I must try to figure out how am I going to get out of this situation. I've got to get out of this without the other person knowing what you're thinking or what your plan is to do. And some people are in a position, they have to do that. Unfortunately, they have to do that.
You have to have a plan.
You have to have a plan because, first of all, Deb, you have to get tired and be sick and tired of being tired. When you get fed up, When you get to that place that you are literally tired and I want to get out of this place, you're going to figure out something.
Absolutely.
And you know, as women, we can come up with some plots and plans and things that we're going to do.
We're very good at that.
Yes, but you can't allow them. I've heard this, and I'm sure you have. Don't let the left hand know what your
right hand is doing. My mother would say that.
Yeah.
That's a true statement.
Yeah, it is a true statement. You can't always tell them. Always, you want to be honest. I want to tell them everything. You can't.
No.
You
not
can't
when your
always
life
do
is
that.
dependent
Oh,
on it.
not if your life is depending on it.
And it's been such a rise in domestic violence type of things. We hear about it on
all
the news.
The time.
What is that?
It's something, like I said, it's a demonic situation.
Absolutely.
It's the forces of evil. And sometimes you want to be in a relationship. Some women, we get forced, we get into a relationship. We want to be wanted. We want to be so needy. We feel like we got to have someone with us. But if you don't know that person and their background, their history, and where they come from, and they have issues and things that they may not have resolved, they're going to take it out on you. And I always believe that if a man doesn't respect his mama,
that's how you
he's
know.
not going to respect his wife. Respectfully. Any man that has been raised in an environment where he saw his dad beat his mama, sometimes that's hereditary. Sometimes it's in their DNA. Sometimes they carry that on and think that's okay to do, and it's not okay to do. And some men learn from it. Some men really just vow that I would never put my hands on my lady or a woman or my wife. So you have to put yourself in a place. If you have a daughter, would you want your child to be beaten? Would you want your daughter be out with a man that's going to beat her or be mean to her? So you have to really, things come back in cycles. You have to look, if you do unto others as somebody going to do, it's going to happen to you. More likely it will happen to you.
You know, Wyomme, I bet you a lot of people don't realize that October is Domestic Violence Month.
Absolutely they don't, because it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And domestic violence is also in October. So it's a little overshadowed because of that, but definitely, it's recognized in October.
I have a question. For someone like myself, if I think that one of my friends or a loved one is in a domestic situation where they're being abused either verbally or financially or physically, what can I do?
Well, first of all, we'll go back to that trust factor. You have to maybe talk to them, feel it out, and see how they can open up to you.
Yeah.
Because there's a way that you can speak to someone that you could gain their trust. So if you could do that, they will be able to share with you.
And it may take more than one attempt.
And it may be more than one attempt, but some people still under that, just keeping it silent, in secrecy. And sometimes we got to get out of that. We have to work our way out of that. And then also, once you can do that, we can always share materials. Give them something.
Oh, that's good.
And add something to them. You know, I may not be able to talk to you, but I really feel I need to give this to you. And
that's
that
good.
you'll be able to give them some literature, give them a phone number they can call. Anything that you can do would be helpful to help someone.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
What about shelters or in an emergency situation? I just have to get out. Is there a place for me? Can I go somewhere in the middle of the night where I can, get myself or my children to safety? What recommendations do you have along those lines?
There are various places that you can go, and many women don't know that.
Yeah.
But I say to you again, any woman out there that you need to go and get shelter, you need help, call your local churches.
Okay.
That you can start there, and speak to someone at a church. You may want to go to any community, anywhere in your community. There's some community centers. Someone can help you. Now, people are more open now. They're helping families to find places that they can go to without someone even knowing your situation. So, there are many places, and look up some of your local places where, find out in advance, because you got to do your research.
You got to do your research.
You must do your research about it as well. And there are places who would take women as well as their children.
Okay.
Yes.
Hear that, folks? There's a place for you. Maybe even the internet. Look up some things online.
And now people are not internet savvy.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say go to in your local churches.
That's good
go
advice.
to the schools, and find a place that you can go and get help. Like I said, there are community centers that you can go as well. There are many women groups.
Ah,
There
that's
are many women organizations that are out there that are helping women who are in need, and then they need to be sheltered. So they are out there, and I want to put the phone number out there as well.
So why, if someone needed help and they didn't know exactly where to turn to, is there a resource they can call, or is there a website address or anything?
Yes, ladies, if you're out there and you need help, you need safety, go to thehotline.org. It's thehotline.org, or call 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. So you go and make sure that they can go and seek out help, and they should be able to help with those resources.
All right. Why do you have a stage play? Oh, I didn't mention she's also a playwright. This lady is so talented. So can you tell us about your the play that you wrote, produced, directed, everything? Tell us the name of your play.
The name of my play is Then Sings My Soul.
If I could sing, I would sing that for you.
Well, you know, a lot of people, they can identify with that
Love it.
title because they always say, oh, that reminds me of a song we used to
Yeah.
sing in church. It's a hymn. I say, yes, it's similar to a hymn.
Sing a little
It
bit.
is a
Why?
hymn.
Why? You have to sing a
The
little
name
bit.
of the, well, the title of the, don't get me up here trying to sing. She's trying to get me to sing. Now, no, I've been blessed that to have this opportunity, that God had given me a vision to do this play, and it's a domestic violence play. It's a musical with a message on domestic violence.
Yeah.
And it happened that in a way that music had to be a part of it, because I sing and I've been around actors and I've been around so much talented and wonderful artists that I've been raised in, and this is my background, it's my life. So quite naturally doing a play, I guess God said in order for you to do this, you got to put some music in it. But I did not know it was going to be about domestic violence at all. Out of all of the things that God had commissioned me to do and challenged me to be doing at this point in my life, is domestic violence. And
That's
had no clue.
amazing. So why? Tell me, why were you drawn to this subject of domestic violence?
Well, Deb, to be honest with you, I wasn't looking for this. It came to me. It was dropped in my spirit. I was out with some friends and my colleagues. We were out and we were speaking about issues that they were having. And one thing led to another in conversation. We wanted to do something to help young girls.
Oh.
And because we know our young girls have issues as well. But not only that, a lot of them want to be a part of the arts. So we were really looking at helping to mentor them in reference to the arts and singing and the dancing and putting on a production from that perspective. But when the conversation went a different direction, we started talking about how women are out here and they're hurt and they're not loved. And when you're not loved, then you gravitate to things that are just the opposite of what you're looking for.
Right.
And at the same time, when we were talking about that, we were speaking about what do we do with helping young girls to identify themselves. And God said, but you know, the young girls are not the only ones who go through, who are hurt and not loved and abused. Adult women. And so a lot of them would start to talk about that. Yeah, you know, I've been hurt, I've been abused, I've been with this boyfriend, I had this husband who did this to me. And I was like, wow. So I said, well, let's put something together so we can do like a workshop where we're going to do a seminars with talking about certain things to help the young girls in that respect. And then God decided to say, okay, you're going to do a musical, but it's going to be on domestic violence. But it didn't make sense to me, Debbie, at the time. Because you just don't think about you're going to do something.
Right.
What's that going to look like?
Right.
What is that going to look like? But fast forwarding, I took on the challenge. I said, okay, God, if I'm going to do this, you got to show me what you want me to do. How do you want me to do this? He brought some people in my life.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
what God does. He really
dropped people in your path
to
help this make sense. Because at first it didn't make sense to me. But moving forward in that respect, as I started putting it together, he started putting the pieces of this puzzle together. I said, God, what is this going to look like? What are the scenes? What are the areas that you want me to discuss? What are these topics? And he started letting me know, this is what you're going to talk about. This is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to look. And I began to start writing all this stuff down.
That's amazing.
I know areas of domestic violence that women go through. I had to write it down. You had to put the idea to pen the paper and started really seeing this come to fruition. And once I started doing that, I went to one of my good girlfriends, and Roz White, she's Story Concept, and we sat down and she started helping me to put it all together. It's like, it's like you writing a book and you need that ghostwriter to help you put it all together. She helped me put all the scenes.
Her play was in New York back in May.
Yes.
So hopefully we're in the DMV area that you'll put it on again in this area.
Yes, I had a chance to put it on 3 times here in the Washington, D.C. area.
Outstanding.
And so then we were blessed to go to New York this past May. So yeah, it was wonderful. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the young women. I have a question about mature women, older women. Now, this woman's been in her marriage for years, in an abusive marriage. You know, she may be over 55. She may think she's too old. She may think I can't start over. What would be your advice? Because that's a tough one. She may have been married for years. They've already raised their kids. She has grandkids. What would you say to that woman who's still being abused, either emotionally, physically? What would be your advice to her? This is a tough one.
Yeah. I would say you have to know yourself. Get to know who you are. Because you can't be able to be what you want to be when you don't know who you really are. And you have someone who's trying to take you out of that place, out of that where you were created to be. I always say, and I've said this in the play, women were not created, we were not created to be beaten. We were created, we are queens.
Yes, we are.
And we have to know
You're
who
a queen.
we are, that you are a queen.
You're a queen.
And when you embrace that in your mind, in your spirit, so much so, that you won't take anything less than. You have to get to a point and say, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
When you get to a point to understand that that is it, you will ask God, okay, God, reveal to me now what you want me to do.
Absolutely.
He can't come in until you're ready for him to come in.
Amen to that.
I believe that. When you're ready for him to step in to change some things in your life, and he can and he will,
oh my God,
he can even change the person who's abusing you. You got to pray and
prayer.
ask God.
Prayer changes.
Prayer changes that.
Yeah.
And I really believe a heart of a man can change.
Amen.
And that's where God dwells in our heart. He sees the heart. Man looks on the outside, but God knows your heart. And when he knows your heart, he will answer your prayers.
I know a lot of times women maybe, and even men, maybe in abusive situations, it's a lot of shame that be connected with it. So how can they really find someone they can trust? Because they have to be able to trust someone because we may need help. They may need help getting out of the situation. How would you encourage them to really find someone to trust? How do you do that? Where are these people? Is it a family member, or do they need to go to a total stranger?
Well, there are other resources and areas of where you can go, places that you can go. You must try to, of course, connect to those places. Because when you are tapped into going to look for help, they are not to devour your information. That's where the trust comes in.
Yeah.
When you're seeking counseling. Because some people need to go to counseling.
And there's nothing wrong with counseling.
And there's nothing wrong with counseling. We all know most of us have mental situations going on in our lives. But because you're seeking help, that's the first place at the start of recognizing that you need help when you admit it. And so in that respect, you must say, okay, how am I going to trust this person? You have to begin to open up.
Yeah.
You can't keep everything inside.
Yeah.
And God, and again, I have to go back to the fact that God would direct you to someone who you need to go to and who you can trust.
Prayer.
And yes, and a friend, a close friend. Some people have friends. Some people go to a pastor. Some people will go to, a relative that they know, especially older, senior, or seasoned person in your life. Yeah, they will go to them and they will speak to them and talk and be able to open up and share. And you can believe that once you say something to that person, you got to know it won't get back.
Yeah, absolutely.
To someone else. So yeah.
And folks watching, sometimes you have to. We want friends. We have to first show ourselves friendly, but also you have to be a trustworthy person. So if someone comes to you and confides in you, don't divulge their business. Please, let's work on that. If you're a busybody or just doing a lot of talking, let's work on that. That's not a good quality.
No, it's not, because there are people who are hurting. And they don't want to know that their business is going to be told to
Yeah.
somebody else or heard through somebody else. And if I said the trust that I want you to know this and don't tell anyone, that's what that means.
Absolutely.
That's where the trust factor. And you have a lot of people who want to trust, but some people have hurt them so bad, they have a problem with trust.
Yeah. I know we've been speaking to the person who's being abused, but to the abuser, if you're abusing someone, you need some help, and try to figure out what's it going to take to get you that help, because that person who's your wife, your husband, whoever, your children.
Yes. It's a scary thing when you have a household with children and the person who's abusing the spouse. But I want to say about the children. The children are hurt more than anything. It really hurts them. You don't know how much that's going to hurt them for the years to come when they're living in an environment like that.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Wyomme, if there is any advice that you can offer to someone in an abusive situation, just in conclusion, what would you say to that person?
Wow. Again, try to find some peace. Peace is the ultimate.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to get to. Know that you're loved. Know that you're valued. Know that you have a purpose. And understanding that because you have purpose, you want to know that I shall live and not die.
Oh, amen.
I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to be courageous, and I want to be able to be a testament and have a testimony to someone to say you can be victorious. You can do it, but it's a mind that you have to be made up. And know that you are more than a conqueror.
Yes.
Because you can overcome. And this is what a plan, when the people are planning something, a plot, guess what? You can diffuse that thing. And because you have the mind and you have the attitude of gratitude to know I'm going to make it.
Amen.
Because I want to go out and tell somebody about my story.
There it is.
And that's what it's all about, being able to survive so you can tell others that I made it and you can too.
This time went by so quickly.
I know. It's when you talk about this, it's so much. I'm blessed to be here with you, Debbie.
Thank
and I thank you again.
I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you too, my sister.
Well, thank you for watching another edition of Second Beauty You. And remember, your second beauty really is your true beauty. So let's embrace it and let's go. Bye-bye. Hey, it's Deb. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Second Beauty You. Have a fantastic day.